All righty. And I can't tell from this perspective if it's live, so you have to
You're
tell
on.
me.
Yep, you're on. You're
All
on.
righty. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so welcome back. Today we are talking about how marketing challenges can spark innovation and growth, turn those challenges into opportunities. Welcome back. We are Nate and Simone, and we talk all things marketing. And today we have in the room with us, we have Denise, and Denise is the owner of a nonprofit where she's
I'm the
teaching
founder of a
kids.
nonprofit. Yes.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So you've got STEM programs, and you're teaching kids how to build bikes and or repair bikes and use the tools that they have at their disposal to take that skill and build it up to be
That's
even
what we want to
bigger.
launch this summer. Yes.
Awesome.
Working
That's
on it.
fantastic. That's fantastic. So here we go. Um,
Yeah.
all right.
So
So
thanks for joining us again,
take it
Denise. It's
away.
great to have you. I was just gonna say, so today conversation we're gonna start talking about how obstacles can help ignite growth. Can help you. It's like necessity is the mother of invention, as they say, right? So. Um,
Absolutely.
we're going to be talking about maybe some examples of businesses that turned struggles into success, and we're also going to be, coming up with some actionable strategies that can help you be more resilient, adapt and creative in your marketing. So, um, the first question, I guess, that I'll ask is, what if your marketing challenges aren't roadblocks, but they're stepping stones to greater opportunities? So, challenges. What is a challenge? I mean, who doesn't have challenges, right? So, especially when it comes to marketing, and especially when it comes to nonprofits. I mean, I worked for a nonprofit out of college, shortly after out of college, out in Reno, Nevada, and I know firsthand the struggles that they go through, and it's just constant firefighting. And, that time that was a fairly new nonprofit, so I was a AmeriCorps Vista volunteer getting paid by the U.S. government to help, the nonprofit achieve sustainability in the local community. So my job was going out, outreaching, and trying to find connections as much as possible. Of course, being a young college kid, I had no idea how I was going to do that, but especially in a town where I knew no one, so it was doubly challenging. But I did meet a lot of people in the nonprofit world while I was out there. I worked with Keep America Beautiful affiliate as well when we were doing roadside cleanups and that kind of stuff, in Keep Turkey Meadows, or excuse me, in Turkey Meadows area, um, near Tahoe. But anyway, so yeah, I I sympathize and empathize. Um,
I say one of
so
the things about nonprofits, they tend to have this feast or famine
yeah.
thing going on. There'll be times when there's lots of money coming in, lots of funding, and they can do a lot, and then there's other times when it's just pretty much dry, and
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
just
not much
So
trying
money
to.
far,
to
we've
do
just been in
anything.
survival mode. We
Yeah,
haven't quite gotten to any feast
yeah,
section yet.
yeah. How long
Yeah.
have you been going?
We got our 501(c)(3) at the end of 2023.
Okay,
And just last year was our work on our full-blown work on in working in the community.
gotcha. Yeah. Um, okay. So you're going on 2 years here. Yeah, I think it's very similar to any small business. Like the first 5 years is
So
very
too.
treacherous. So,
I think
you
so
know.
too. Yeah. And when I think about marketing nonprofits, I always think they have an ideal client as well, that stakeholder, and they need to market just like a for-profit business would market themselves in a
Yeah.
lot of ways. So
And
that's what I
actually,
think.
And actually, the thing that makes nonprofits special when it as compared to a for-profit business is that if anything, you have to keep more people happy, and you actually have um, at least three different customer profiles that you have to worry about, right? So you have
Mm,
you have the donors, you have the constituents, the ones who are using your services, and then you also have volunteers. And sometimes there's overlap there, but they're distinct, motivations and reasons for wanting to work with you and that kind of stuff. So, and you have to appeal to all of that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to have a three-pronged approach
Mhm.
as far as your marketing goes.
Yeah. So
Yes, like he
definitely,
was saying, Nate hit the nail on the head. I was gonna say it's more than one target audience,
yeah,
unfortunately. And
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
the volunteers definitely, and we work, that's how we've been able to be working and functioning for so long because of all of our volunteers, not only on site, but also online. Like
Mm,
I learned how to do a website using WordPress, but on
mm,
top of that, I didn't know anything. And so I had volunteers come in and say, this doesn't look right, and tell me why, and tell me what I should do. Just a
yeah.
lot of we wouldn't be where we are. We wouldn't be able to serve the people we do without all of our volunteers. They are absolutely phenomenal and the one of the key essential parts of our program work. So yes, yes, shout out to the volunteers.
Yes, absolutely. I
Absolutely.
was going to say that. Shout out to the volunteers.
Yeah. So like I said, number of different challenges. So the question there is, how can we start to see those as opportunities, I guess, um, and as chances to innovate instead of getting stuck, right? Um, and I think a lot of it is, you know, it's kind of a state of mind. It sounds cheesy and cliche to say, but it's all in how you look at it, right? I guess um,
It
if
may
you
be
have
cliche, but you know what? It's actually it's true. And I've heard that there is science around it. What you focus on grows, and what you focus on, you go towards. So if you focus on more on the opportunities rather than on what you don't have, you'll end up with more opportunities.
yeah,
There'll be more out there for you to take advantage of. There's this one guy who says like there's not a lack of resources. There's a lack of resourcefulness.
true that, true that. Um, can we think of any examples, Simone, of businesses that have taken their challenges like low brand visibility, for example, and turn that into a creative, successful rebrand, maybe?
Um, I'm not sure about like low brand visibility, but the company that springs to mind when it comes to taking turning a disadvantage into an advantage, I guess would be Domino's Pizza. And I think I mentioned this on a previous week, where their the taste of their pizza crust was just awful. Nobody liked it. It was terrible. And but they turned it around. They embraced it, and they built a marketing campaign around it, and they said, okay, all right, we've been told, we know our pizza crust sucks. Right? And
Yeah,
so what we're going to do is we're going to get back in the kitchen, we're going to work with the chefs, and we're going to figure this out, and give you a better crust, right? And that's what they did. And now I'm like, oh, Domino's pizza is actually very good, in my opinion. I do remember thinking years ago how like, yeah, I would never eat Domino's. It's terrible. But yeah, they went back in the kitchen, and they reformulated their ingredients or their recipe, and they've come out with something edible, something good. And
That's
they turned it around and they put that as they use that in their marketing campaign rather than hiding behind, oh gosh, we're going to sneak out a new recipe and see if people like it, kind of a thing. They didn't do that. They just went whole hog with it.
mhm. There was something I think gosh darn it, I'm trying to think here. I had something in mind. I think I lost a train of thought. So anyway,
I'm thinking of another company,
yeah.
Nike. I think
Hmm.
Nike boosted their public profile by partnering with up and coming athletes. They partnered with Michael Jordan when he was just like kind of right out of the gate. He was a young kid. Nobody really knew that much about him. They can see, okay, this guy is, he's got some talent, he's got some chops. Nike decided to partner with him before he became the Michael Jordan.
Nice.
They took a chance on a young guy that most people didn't know.
Yeah. I was just looking here. Wasn't there something about Old Spice and the way that they did their rebrand? I can't think of
That
it.
I don't
Anyway.
know. I haven't heard the story of Old Spice.
Okay. Okay.
I
So
haven't followed their journey yet.
yeah. So one thing I would say is okay, let me ask a question here, Denise. Have you created a comprehensive list of your challenges?
Mm.
Ah, have I created a list? No.
So
I
sometimes,
I haven't
some,
created it. I know
yeah.
it exists. I
Well,
do.
have you written it down? Do you have like a place where you can go and just look at it? Like, okay, these are the things that we need to work on. These are our challenges that we need to overcome.
I know that one of the major ones is getting individual. So there's, like he was saying, there's three audiences. In fact, I would say maybe even four, because there's the sponsors. That's also another one that's different than donors. Uh, and then there's the grant people, but that's that's another one. But the sponsors are companies that want to invest in helping you because they see that you're helping the community and they get their word out and they get to work with you and showing something start from nothing and seeing it grow, and it's thanks to them.
Hmm.
That's been one of the points that I have been able to work with in a positive way, because I have been able to talk to a few companies that want to work with me, but it's always something called in-kind donation, which means they give items,
Right.
not
Rather than
money.
money. Yeah.
Which is good. I mean, we need it, but at the same time, we also need money to pay utilities because we run 4 refrigerators, and
Yeah.
pay transportation because we drive around like a 50-mile radius to drop off food items and hygiene kits to different places. And with the youth urban farm and bike repair program we want to launch, we're gonna need money for, things that happen. Uh yeah. So that's been my main question, has been how to talk to companies and change the mindset from let me give you something to let me write you a check, basically. I
Yeah.
have many other problems, but that's like my main thing that I've been trying to figure out.
Yeah. Yeah. And not only that, part of what's going on there could be that, you know, as much as we like to think that nonprofits, are helping people and all this, there is pretty stiff competition amongst nonprofits for donor dollars, volunteer hours, et cetera, et cetera. Um, how many, do you know who your competition is? Well, that people might, th-
Yes, I do
yeah,
know, and I've talked with them, and it's with nonprofits, it's not like cutthroat
I
exactly
know.
type thing.
It's
It's
it's like
different.
it's like a friendly,
It's
Yeah,
more
it's
friendly competition than dog eat
yeah.
dog.
yeah, it's
Well,
friendly.
I'll give you an example.
Uh-huh.
Here in the town that I live in, there's 10,000 people. We have three or four nonprofit organizations that are all competing for food donations. So how does that work? Why are they
Yes.
competing? I don't understand. Anyway,
Yes,
but
that's one of the things that has happened. So I go
yeah,
to the different stores around and I ask them if they have any leftover food items or about to be expired food, and they can give it to me. I have been able to get a couple of different places, but then I talk to other and they're like, "No, we already give it to X company," or "Oh,
exactly.
we give it to Y nonprofit. Oh, we already have somebody ready for that." I'm actually one of the fortunate ones that have partnered with Panera Bread, and every week we get to pick up the end of day bread that they have. But it
Nice.
was 4 months that it took me to get that, and two rejections and several applications, and that's
Yeah.
the kind of situation that happens. And it still wasn't the one that was nearby me. It was about 25 minutes away. So
Mm.
it's that kind of competition. So yeah, that he's absolutely Nate, you've been in this group before.
It's like, all right, it's almost like he's seen this before.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Um, yeah, indeed. So I guess, one thing with that, you mentioned partnerships. I think partnerships, especially starting out, small business, new business on the block, new nonprofits alike, reaching out to those more established organizations and companies to see if you can work together on things. Maybe you have complementary services that they don't offer, or maybe it's, an enhancement, things like that. There's also like for-profit companies want to be seen as giving back to the community, right? And so you got that going for you. Um, that's, to your advantage. But
Is it
it's up.
advantageous to get on the news, the local radio when you just have the idea of the thing and you don't have it done yet? For example, for us, what we're doing, the we do complement the other organizations because they have maybe a food bank where people come by and pick up food versus we drop it off in the different places that are accessible to people. And the programs that I want to launch, it doesn't exist. I've already asked everyone around here. It just they don't have it. So I'm doing something that's one non-existent and two complementary to the other organizations to make sure that we don't exactly overlap. But oh my God, I lost my train of thought. I wanted to ask you how I can, oh, if I get on the news, but I don't have anything to show yet, is that, would that make sense, or is it better to wait until I have the program up and running and it's like, okay, this is what I'm doing. You know what I mean?
Well, you run the
But
risk of giving somebody else the idea and they beat you to it, you know.
oh,
And I think it is better to have it up and running before you get on the news, because the news is going to drive a lot of traffic, and you don't want to waste that traffic. So
Yeah.
when the people show up, they want to see that you're actually up and running, you're doing something that they can immediately. People like to jump on a moving train, right?
okay.
So uh, they want to jump on something that's already has some success and is
Yeah.
already moving forward. So um,
Hmm.
especially like
And
if you're looking for volunteers or donors from
yeah.
from the viewers.
And going along with that and talking about, what I mentioned earlier about partnerships, is there a local bike organization, bike shop, for-profit bike shop that you can partner with? They already have all the tools and the knowledge that you would need, but this could be kind of like their their opportunity to show that they're giving back to the local community, then you blow it up, and it's just about all you would have to do is make sure that you get the press, you get all the stuff, because that reflects positively on them. You see, like it would be your job to provide that section of it, right? So they already have all the functionality and the infrastructure that you need So you would be bringing your ability to generate press and all that kind of stuff to the mix, right? Because then, that is that's kind of like that's their currency, right? That's how they're getting paid. They're getting paid in goodwill from the community, right? Think of it that way. and and you don't have the money to pay them back, right? But you would have the ability, in theory, to generate that goodwill, which reflects positively on the for-profit company. I will say that bike shops are generally, I don't know how they are out there, but they're always strapped for cash. So,
Yes,
and
I was gonna say I went
if
to
they can get
one.
free press, that's free marketing for them. That brings more people to them. Like I think they'll fall all over themselves to work with you on something like that.
I did go to one local one, and because it's such a small business and you can see it as soon as you go in, I'm not going to ask you for money, but maybe you can come and speak to the kids when the time is coming and just talk
Yeah,
about your
yeah,
business. Say, yeah, that would be awesome. I could do that. And he even said that maybe I can give you a discount on the bike tools that you need to get. And if you tell me exactly the bikes you have, I can even reduce the amount of tools you need to be specific for that. And I said, okay, that's cool. And so I just have to find more of that. But yes, that's
there's
an
a,
awesome thing.
there's in a town not too far from me. It's called the Bike Project. Um, and they are a nonprofit themselves, and this is what they do. Like, they're a nonprofit that does they refurbish bikes, and then they either sell them for a very, very reduced price, usually with what it is, or they'll give them, where needed and that kind of stuff. But is there anything like that nearby that could work with? Okay.
No, no,
So
no.
you could become that
Yeah,
organization
there you
then for the
go.
community.
Yeah,
Become
So, but
that's
that would be like a long-term, big picture
yeah,
where you
five,
want to
10 year
go.
type project. Yes.
So in the meantime, I would say partnering would be the way to go there, in that situation. But again, like you said, like the PR thing, that's the thing that you would bring to the table then, in my opinion. So, um,
I think in the
anyway,
short term, you have the opportunity to repair bikes of people who bike every day, people who have bikes in the community, for
well,
low cost or no
the,
cost to them.
but the problem is, like, you don't want to compete with the bike shop though in that case.
Oh, the bike shop does that. Is that what
So
happened?
you got to be
Okay.
careful there.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Got it.
I
Got
mean,
it.
I don't know the situation, but you just got to tread lightly, figure
Mm,
out, have a frank conversation with the business owner, find out in their minds how they're seeing the beneficial situation. What benefits they see to them? You know, you might have your idea, but until you ask them, you really don't know for
well,
sure. So,
I-
and they might be nervous about just that situation. Like, you're cutting
mm,
into our um our business here by offering services for free. That could be a problem. So,
mm,
Okay, that's something I didn't think about. That's true.
yeah.
yeah, that's probably a good idea to talk to them anyway, just to let them know that you're talking about it and get their opinion and their input and how best not to tread on them. So, you know what I mean? uh, that might be the way to open the conversation, because I'm sure that they'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, let's talk about that. So, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah. Maybe you ought to you do the things that they're not doing, whatever it is that they're not doing around the same thing, like, maybe
Mhm.
doing bike riding events, bike riding meets,
But
that kind of thing.
so, are you
Let's
you're
ride the
serving?
Cumberland.
Yeah. Well, that could be great. Again,
Mhm.
getting press for that type of
Mhm.
situation. Then that would be your job, right? In that case, always think about what you could bring to the situation. You know, because like just like in-kind donations, you're not dealing in currency here. You're dealing in other things like goodwill. And think about it. What motivations would businesses or individuals have to work with you? Why work with a nonprofit? There's definitely good reasons. you know and you have to think that through. you know um, just like when a consumer is buying a product, they're hoping it solves a problem, makes their life better in some way, saves them time, saves them money, makes them more money, something along those lines. But with nonprofits, it's slightly different motivations, right? It's goodwill. How do I show that I'm giving back to the local community? Goodwill is one of those intangibles that you have to have, and it's hard to measure, but those that have it succeed, and they get the local community wants to support them because of it, right? And so it's extremely valuable but hard to measure. you know and there are some finance whizzes that can do that, though. But I'll say I don't know how they do it. But anyway, just think that through. Uh, this is the same situation, though, as businesses, for profit or nonprofit. The end user, or the other person, always wants to know what's in it for me. I don't care what they're doing, volunteering, donating, using the services. Everybody wants to know what's in it for me, and you have to be able to provide that information. So, you know, um, anyway, so where the heck was it? Was I kind of off track there? All right. So some key things here. Um, Trying to set yourself apart. What do you bring to the table? Um, it's, it's not. I guess you are kind of solving a problem, of sorts, for your donors, volunteers, service users. So, what are those problems that you're solving? Um, and let's see here.
Especially for
And
the teens who get involved. Sometimes in a
yeah,
in a small town, um, there's you don't have all of the different entertainment options that you would have in a bigger city, right? You may have, okay, there's a bowling alley, there's a um, there's a bowling alley, there may be a movie theater, um, and a skating rink, and that's pretty much it. Like, and kids are like, okay, they're out just hanging out, getting into trouble, up to no
Yes.
good, stuff like
And all
that.
those
So
things
you
cost
want to,
money.
yeah, yeah, that's true
That's
too.
that's the
And if
other
and if they
problem.
don't have a job, then how are they
right,
going
if
to get
they
the
can't
money?
find jobs, they don't have the money for those things. So, um, so yeah, you're definitely solving a problem. Probably for the teens and for their parents.
Mhm.
Keeping them engaged and involved in something.
And also, I've seen high schoolers that volunteer here once in a while and come over is because they have volunteer community hours that they have to complete.
Right,
And that's another thing that they get to
right.
complete in one place, and it's outside. And I don't
I
know,
had
kids prefer to be outside and instead of being cooped up inside when
they
they're
still
not
do.
they're not
I know, right?
able to
I thought it
use
was
their
all about
cell
the
phone.
video
When
games.
they can't use their cell phone. But I've been surprised. I see the kids when they come over here, and they They put the cell phone to a side, and then they're doing their thing, and some of them really enjoy it and get involved in helping, and they
That's
just like
great.
it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Sure. You have
Yeah,
enough people
that's
there,
really
then it
great.
becomes a social activity, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. They bring
Exactly.
their friends over, they start helping all together, and I said, okay, even better.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's great.
You're checking a lot of boxes here. You just got to know how to capitalize on it and
Yeah,
play that
that's been
up.
my thing. I see it's good. I know it's a good thing that we're doing. I see that there's value for other people for it. I just don't know how to market that and say,
Yeah.
"Hey, look at all the cool stuff we're doing. Don't you want to be part of it?" Huh? 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 I don't
Yeah.
know how to do that.
Mm.
Um, you know, I mean, it's the same thing in nonprofits as for profits. Word of mouth,
Mhm.
testimonials is good. Getting those teens to tell you what a great time they had and getting that down in video. Um, if they don't want to write it out and put it on the website, then get a video. Hey, tell me about your experience here doing this. Blah blah
Mhm.
blah, and then that becomes social media in addition to stuff that you put on the website. Bada bing, bada boom. Uh, I'm a huge fan of video and like repurposing video. So you know that that's good stuff. You can always there's all kinds of tools out there that you can use to repurpose video, like we've talked about on our talks. There's a program called castmagic.io that I use. Um, if you go to appsumo.com, they're actually doing a lifetime promo right now. I think for um, you can get started for like I want to say it's like $80 for lifetime access. Um,
The cast magic or something else?
Cast Magic.
Really?
Yes. Yeah.
That's really interesting, considering cast magic is already out there.
I know. I know. I saw it and I was
That's
like,
really
"What are you
interesting.
doing?" It's for new accounts only. Like,
Wow.
yeah.
I know that
So
would leave me out of it too. Well, you know what you have to do? You have to use a different email address. That's what you have to do.
that is exactly my thought process, and I've already engaged in that and gone down that path. So that's in the works. But and then from there you can do Opus Clip, which does not have one, but they're relatively expensive. Like it's 144 a year or something like that. But then you can cut those up into shorts. The long video,
Mhm.
cut it up into shorts. It does it for you in like less than 20 minutes. Like if you take
Yeah.
an hour-long video, cut it up into a month's worth of shorts. Um, there's all
Mhm.
kinds of things like that that you can do then.
Yeah, and you get
So
the kids doing a lot of the video and some of the editing. They'll eat that up because
have
that's
those
their
kids help you.
wheelhouse.
Oh, I can
Hmm.
have kids be like that are interested in media, maybe volunteer or something.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly.
Absolutely.
Get some
Free
experience
labor.
working for a company.
That could work, and they can
Yeah,
use up the service hours that they need to fulfill
there you
anyway.
go.
Boom,
Yeah.
boom.
Yeah. Kids love getting into new media and stuff.
Yeah. And they probably know all the memes and everything to use and all that, right? To make it interesting. Keep, on all the platforms and all that. Um,
Oh.
so um, I think just kind of if you want to build a culture that is all about innovating and growing, then having open communication and
Mm.
collaboration
Right.
is key. It was exactly what we're
Encouraging
talking
those
about here.
brainstorming sessions,
Yeah,
so you can get those out of the box ideas. Um,
yeah,
letting people throw whatever ideas that they have, and you'll end
yeah.
up coming up with something that you never thought of, you
And
know?
and any like small wins are like never overlook a small win to celebrate. Especially as a nonprofit. You know,
Yeah.
uh, turn everything into a huge celebration if you can, right? Of course, I guess the downside there is that if everything's a celebration, then nothing is. But you know,
Um,
um,
it boosts morale when people feel like they're
yeah,
winning, that they're part
everybody
of
wants to
something
be on the
that's
winning
moving
team.
forward.
Yeah,
Right,
yes,
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
okay. So
Okay,
let's
I'll
see
work on
here.
that. It sounds like great advice. Thank you.
Yeah,
Mhm.
there you go. All right. I would encourage you as a thing to do after this, just write down, make a list of all your challenges, right? It doesn't matter what it is. You know, try to be as comprehensive as possible. And then
It's gonna look like a CVS receipt.
yes, with none of the savings. Um, but so what you can do, take that list and take it, share it with the people that are using your services, share it with your volunteers, talk about these things, have the these this becomes the topic of conversations that you're having with people, getting
Mhm.
their feedback and their ideas for how they would handle the situation.
Yeah. And I would
You know,
have them tackle like one or two at a time so that it's not so overwhelming. But like everybody, what's his name? Napoleon, was it Napoleon Hill who came up with or who talked about the concept of the mastermind? When you have
yeah,
multiple minds all focused on the same problem, that problem doesn't it becomes a non-problem anymore, because now we have multiple people with their different perspectives and their different experiences and their upbringings and everything, all kind of chewing on that one problem. Then again, you won't have that problem anymore because it'll be solved, right? And then you work with that one and you take the most crucial things at the top, and then go down the list from there. Maybe have your board members come together and prioritize the list, and then start with the top one or two, and put that out to the community, your volunteers, your board members, even the people that you serve, and say, hey, this is the issue that we're working on this month. Let's all throw our ideas into the pot and see what we can come up with to solve the problem.
yeah,
You get
and
everybody working on the same thing, that problem will be gone.
yeah, and you. I'm looking at your website here, and you have blessing boxes, you have urban farm, bike repair, English naturalization classes, officiant career certification, which is an interesting one, veteran family care packages. So you have six different services that you're offering. Um, let's see, you have a page for each one? Okay.
I should.
Okay.
I should. Yeah, with the youth programs, I know I did one separately. The food boxes, I call them food. It's the URL is food boxes. They're blessing boxes in the area, but it's a regional name, and I have a
Mhm.
page for that.
Okay. Well, the one thing I was going to say with that is, oh, I see. Yes, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Um, focus on what problem is that solving in the community, and therefore how give people a reason for feeling good for helping
Mhm.
out in that case, right?
Yeah, and it sounds like you kind of need the same advice that we give to businesses. Focus on one thing at a time.
Yeah,
you know
that's a lot of
because
different
if
things.
there's a lot of different things, and it doesn't sound like they connect necessarily. So
Yeah,
I would pick an overall or overarching thing that you want to focus on. Is it the
yeah,
youth? Is it the farm? Is it and focus on that thing and get that going and up and running before and automate it, and then move on to the
'cause
next thing. Because if you're trying to
otherwise
focus on multiple things at a
yeah,
time, none of them get
you're
done.
gonna get pulled apart. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I say don't chase two rabbits. You chase two rabbits, you don't catch any,
Mhm.
right? Because they're gonna take you in different directions. So
Yes,
chase the one
yes.
rabbit to start
I,
with.
okay.
Yeah, I think you got some great programs here, but just focus on getting like she said, one thing, getting that up and running and getting going very
Mhm,
well, and then
mhm.
add more as you go along. Because once you've done one thing and you've got it built up and it's going well, you'll know how to do the others. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You'll be able to apply it the exact same, almost exactly the same process, most likely.
Yeah. So yeah, you'll have a formula for success that you can then apply to the next thing.
Yes.
Yeah, and again, thinking about who you're serving, who are the people you're serving, who are the donors that would be interested in helping those people, and
Mhm.
you know, who are the volunteers that would be interested in doing the activity that is helping those people. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. That's definitely
um,
going to help with the stakeholder problem, right? All the different audiences that you have to juggle. If you're focused on one thing, well, then, okay, well, I have kind of one type of volunteer and I've got one constituent that I'm serving, and I've got one donor base that I need to go after who wants to be a part of this particular service that I'm offering. And so that streamlines, that's going to streamline your process for getting donors. It's going to streamline your process for getting volunteers. It's going to streamline your process for serving a particular person, particular type of group of people, you know?
Yes.
it's gonna help you figure out who you need to be talking to, and what
Exactly.
to say to them
And what to
when
say
you're
to them.
talking to
Exactly.
them.
So now you can hone your message because you're only talking to one person.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Well, it's always gonna be at least, like Nate said, it's always gonna be at least three,
Or
and I
those
think
three,
more
right?
people, yes.
Well, but
But the
but
message is going to
But
be
the
so much
message
more
has to be
slimmed
the same.
down.
Yes.
if you're
Yes.
focused, like for
Yes.
example, like she said, if you're focused on helping the youth, okay, so the people that are going to benefit from that obviously are the youth that you're helping, but
Mhm,
then what donors are going to be interested in helping youth? Who is going to
mhm.
be interested in volunteering to help youth? See what I mean? All of your messaging then is about youth,
It's about you. Exactly.
helping the youth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So right now you have like the maybe the underprivileged or underprivileged with the food boxes, veterans.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know what I mean? So those become different messages, right?
Yes,
Because there are
they're different
different groups of people
audiences.
who are interested in helping those out.
Mhm.
That's what we're saying. So
Yeah.
help
Can't
yourself
be
out
all
here.
things to all people.
I'm trying though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All it does is pull you apart, and next thing you know, you're stressed more than you need to be. So yeah,
Mhm.
focus on one at a time. Get it up and running, get it going really good, really well, and then you know put somebody in charge over it, create that system that's going really well, and then you move over, take the system that you've created for this one area and build up the next one. And then your website can be, this is our focus. So your website's not confusing people, right? They come to the website and this is what we're focused on. And you can always mention the other things and like, this is what we're doing now. This is what's coming later in the future. But right now, this is what we're focused on. Would you like to be a volunteer? Would you like to donate? Would you like
Yes.
services? That
Right
kind
now,
of
I
thing.
am focusing on the launch of the Youth Urban Farm and Bike Repair Program. That has been my
Yeah,
focus
yeah,
this
Yeah.
there we
year.
go.
And I do have several volunteers that do help us fill the blessing boxes. And every week, I mean, we got the thing from Panera. We gotta keep going with that because every week they give us that. So we
Well,
can't
you're
say no.
you're at a certain point now,
Mhm.
so keep that whatever you have in place. Not We're not saying nuke everything here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was worried there for a
Yeah,
second.
maybe you can kind of bring everything together under
Yeah, I
one
need to
overall
find
umbrella. Like say
mhm.
the youth program, we're getting the youth off the street, we're getting them involved in different activities, we're getting them to collect the food boxes and go and hand them out to the community, we're getting them to repair bikes, we're getting them to um, get out here and farm and learn farming, that kind of thing. And so you can take the things that you're doing and bring them all under one umbrella and hone your messaging in that way. So then it doesn't look like trying to be all things to all people.
Yeah.
Like,
These
no,
are the
because
these
you
are
can't.
the programs and that you offer to the youth,
Mm,
who you are serving, right? These are the things that the youth do once you're working with them, and then it all
yeah,
becomes about the youth in that case.
yeah.
But you're helping others in the process,
But you've got, yeah. So your youth are kind of doing the three different things, but it's all about the youth.
Yeah, just an idea.
Yeah,
I appreciate it very much. Thank you so
yeah.
much.
Oh, absolutely. Oh,
Well, I think we're about at the end here. I guess, hopefully you're taking away the idea that challenges are not dead ends, but they can be stepping stones. They can actually be a path to grow. Uh,
mhm.
and having that mindset of growth is important, and being creative and resilient there is key, right? And then, excuse me. Um, kind of the stuff that we've talked about here, like being able to reframe an obstacle, can lead to things that you've never imagined before. So,
Yeah,
um,
and something just came to my mind too. Like, I feel like if you so you take the all the different things that you're doing and you kind of solve the problem of we're doing so much and you bring it all under one umbrella. There we're doing these two, three different things, but it's all focused on, this constituency, helping them. Then I'm wondering, your long list of challenges now, does that become less? Because now we're focused. When you sometimes when you solve one problem, it will kind of ripple out and solve other problems.
like a snowball, right?
Like a
Rolling
snowball.
down a hill,
Exactly.
smashing everything
Yeah.
into.
In its path, right? And let's just bring it all in. Let's incorporate it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, did you
So
do you do you have any questions, Denise, or anything?
No, you guys helped a lot. And when you said have everything fall under one thing, we are trying because Cibus Mission, Cibus is Latin for sustenance. So
Ah,
the mission is we believe in sustenance for all at a mental, physical, emotional, spiritual level. That's the whole thing.
okay.
So it tries to be in that, but I think it needs to be more specific, I think is the thing, or more concise. I'm not sure what's missing in order to get it all under the same thing, because for me that's what the whole Cibus thing is, and I'm just trying to figure out other ways of saying that same message so that it's understood generally, that it's encompassed by the whole thing. Yeah,
hmm.
it
Well,
work, that's part of marketing also, trying to get your message
Yeah,
clear
absolutely.
and concise and understood by anyone as soon as they see it, right? And
mhm.
that's always a hard thing. It's so much harder than what it looks. People, you see it on TV all the time and they have that message in less than 20 seconds, you know exactly what they're talking about, but it's
Yeah.
so much harder than what it looks like.
Yeah, I think you have to make some decisions. It's like, okay, um, we want to serve all, but maybe you serve all through a particular vehicle. So in that youth example, it's sustenance for all served by the youth or something like that, right? That kind of a thing, where you're encompassing all these different things, but you're bringing them all under one umbrella, under one, one vehicle, that kind of thing. And yeah, sustenance for all doesn't necessarily have to be served, by all, So
Yeah,
I think it needs to be, because that's a big mission. That's a big mission. Trying to, provide sustenance for all. When I was, growing up in church, we have all these different ministries in the church. We've got women's ministries, we've got men's ministries, we've got children, we've got the singles, we've got, the elders and the deacons, and everybody's got their thing, right? One of the things that I came to understand was that everybody is not gifted or called to serve everyone. Some of us were called to minister to the people in the house, the people in the church, right? And some of us were called to minister to people outside of the walls of the church, right? So you had people who their thing, they love to do it, go out, pack the lunches and go out and feed the homeless, every week. We had one guy, that was his mission. He's packing lunches, he's going out, he's taking people out, and we're feeding the homeless every week, right? But then there's other people who did missions in the church, right? We're serving the youth. We're getting the youth choir together, and we're practicing songs and making sure that they're out for they're good to go for church on the weekend, right? And then there's people who are they're called to serve the singles in the church, right? And so everybody's not called to serve everybody. So you pick who you're called to serve and focus on them. And sometimes it might be that you do want to serve another constituency. You may have to give an idea to another nonprofit, let them serve those folks, and maybe you partner up sometimes. So it doesn't have to be you serving everybody.
I have partnered with another nonprofit. We have partnered. I've partnered with two. One is a veteran mental support group. So every month we take some of the Panera bread over so that while they're having their mental support group, they have some pastries so that they can have coffee and pastries while they're listening to the support. Mm-hmm. And the other group has given us hygiene kits. It's a bigger nonprofit called Helping Hands and Caring Hearts in Frederick, and they have been supplying us the hygiene kits so that we can distribute it out. So yes, we do partner with several nonprofits. So we are working on that. It's just these are programs that are very near and dear to my heart and things that I really wanted to get done. And it's one of those things where if you don't see it done, you want to do it yourself. So I formed the nonprofit and I wanted to do this because it was something that I saw there was a need in the community, and I knew that if I worked on it, we could get it done, and we're working on it and we're getting it done. So I'm excited. I'm still super passionate, super excited about the programs.
I think, I think going back a little bit to where we were talking about, once you've gotten one thing up and running, you'll know how to apply it and build other programs up. Part of that is documentation, like the systems that you're using, people the outreach that you're using, and that kind of stuff, like being able to document that so it's able to be replicated. Repeatable, right? And that way you can also hand off duties where needed, that kind of thing. I would keep that in mind if I were you, and make sure that you're being diligent about that kind of thing, because I'm assuming that you're not going to want to do this all yourself for the entire time, right? You're going to want to hand this off to somebody.
I don't think I would be able to do it the entire time myself. Yes, as soon as I have, but you're right, I need to start making the system now and
Yeah.
start to figure out what the system is that I do in
Mhm.
order to be able to pass it on, not just in case I want to pass it on later, but just in case you get sick, just in case
Well, yeah,
you're out of
exactly.
commission for a little while. You want
Yeah,
the programs to keep running. How
Yeah.
do they keep running? You don't want to be that nonprofit founder or the small business owner that without you nothing works, because
exactly.
that's absolutely the worst. That's the worst kind of business to run or nonprofit to run,
Right.
because you can't, for me at least, I want to have form a council or a committee or a group of people that are experts in this stuff and that can help with these programs. But again, if they don't know you,
Yeah.
it's really hard. It's really hard
Well,
to find help in case they don't even know you exist. And that's
yeah.
again where the marketing comes in, because you're like, hey, look at me.
I
Well,
think
this is
with
like when you hone your message. Now you find the different areas to go out and spread the message so that people can get to know you.
yeah. Yeah, so with nonprofit in your situation, obviously, most bang for your buck situations, PR, social media, website, probably in that order. Uh, um, word of mouth, you know,
Mhm.
uh,
And as a
getting
nonprofit, you have a board of directors, or you have a board, right? And so when you hone that message, make sure that they all have the message and that they are spreading the word in their networks where they are, on their social media platforms and in their networking meetings and their businesses, on their jobs, you know, all the different
yeah,
places that they go in their churches, their clubs, all the things that they do, so that the message is going out and it's not all depending on you.
yeah, and given the fact that you're talking so much, you have already at least two programs for youth, focusing on youth, teaching, like helping the local community by, bringing the youth in. They're young, they're going to be the future leaders. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I think that makes the most sense. Like growing up the youth and having them like do all this kind of stuff. Working with Simone talked about like youth programs at local churches might be a good place to go partner with them, because I'm sure
Mhm.
there's tons of those available. So, you know, uh, it's talking about just focusing on the one thing. Like if you're focused on helping the youth to help the local community, by doing these programs, I think that is probably the angle, you know, that you want to take. But anyway, that's you don't have to drop the programs, but it's just like it gives you. We're focused on bringing the youth in here because they're going to help
Yeah,
us out with these programs,
yeah.
that kind of thing.
Sound like a good way to go.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Just I'll start by finding a way to tie all the programs in a succinct manner. Succinct manner.
Think about
Yeah.
the problems you're solving, who's interested in having those problems be solved, you know, like think about the donors, the users of the service, and then the volunteers, right? Those three, whatever the service is, you have to be able to appeal to all of them. So what
Yes.
interest would they have? What's in it for them in each case,
Mhm.
right? So that
Okay.
that'll
Yeah.
that'll be a good firm base, because that becomes then we're always talking about this because we know
Mhm.
that this is why they're interested in helping in this situation.
Sounds
Yeah.
like a game plan to me. I'm
And you
excited.
just rinse and repeat, right? That's the beauty of
Yes.
Perfect.
social media. You can talk about the same thing and it doesn't matter. You can do it 3 times a day and it doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
true, because everybody's not going to see every message that you post.
True, true.
Um,
yeah,
yeah. And so then you end up having your donors, they're donating to one program, but that one program is doing many different things.
and they can feel very good about all these different things, even if it's kind of tangentially, like, oh, I hadn't thought about helping the veterans, but they were helping them, so that's great. That makes me feel even better.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay. Okay.
Like it
Yeah.
depends on who it is. They might not even have considered it, so anyway, just yeah, it's you have lots of challenges and lots of things. It's very exciting, but
It is.
yeah, good for
Come
you.
back and tell us how it's going.
Yeah, we want to hear if anything's changed.
Yes,
All right, I'll keep
absolutely.
you guys updated.
Absolutely. All right. So thank you so much for being here, and you on in the YouTube sphere, as they say. Thank you for watching. Well, we're going to ask you to like, subscribe, share this, and comment. Let us know what you're doing in your community and how you're tackling the challenges in your marketing. In what you're doing. So thank you so much for being here, and we will see you again next week.